Yes, yes, yes. Get in.
Get in there. Come on. Love it.
Get in. Welcome to Loaded Mag NUFC. And this is the reaction show. Get those shades on, Chris, as well. Come on. This is a reaction show to Newcastle versus PSV and not PSG, like the studio I was sitting in for the last 10 minutes. PSV. Boys, how are you after that?
On top of the world. Brilliant result. Everything about it was great. Great result, great performance. Just what you need midweek to set you up for a big game on Sunday. Yeah, very, very happy right now. What about you, Chris? Shades are on. Good.
Do you know what? The shades are on. I'm going to say this while I just take them off a second. The shades are on. But, boys, I have to say, I was a little bit pissed off during that game.
No. Why?
I'll tell you why. Because from start to finish, it was brilliant. It was brilliant. And I'll touch on it a bit during the game. But I'm like, where's this been? I thought it was outstanding. I really did. Really, really did. From start to finish. And we'll talk about it in more detail. But not taking away from the fact I'm buzzing. I'm made up. It's great. We're through to the next round, regardless of whether that's automatically or, through the playoffs, whatever may be. But yeah, I was watching it just thinking, what is this? This is great. But anyway, I'm buzzing. I'm made up. I'm going to pop them back on now. Now I've finished that. Okay. Daz, how are you, mate?
I'm not too bad. Is that your way of saying we should really be in a European Super League, Chris? Is that what you're kind of hint at there? That's what you want for the future, is it?
Mate, but no. If we play like that all the time, Jesus Christ, maybe we should.
Right, look at I'm good as well. Busy day, even busier day tomorrow. But let's get into it because we want to talk about the match. Everyone watching us across YouTube and on X, smash that like button. Come over as well to YouTube and get involved with the chatters. Let's have a look at the team news. This was the team news for Newcastle. Pete, thoughts on the selection from Eddie?
Big game. Go with your best team. And for me, with the players that we had available, that was absolutely our best team. So I had no qualms about it. I was actually happy about it that he went with Risa. And look, I'll explain in the game why I think that was absolutely the right move. Brilliant. No qualms for me, and no qualms whatsoever. Trippier played well against Wolves, deserved his start. Miley definitely needed a little bit of a rest. He's got a big 6 weeks coming up. He's going to play a lot of football. So I wasn't annoyed or frustrated that he wasn't starting tonight because he is going to be a big player for us in the games of the weeks to come. Don't worry about that. So that team I was not and had no issue with. What about you, Chris? Anything to pick from that one?
The only couple of things for me, you remember me saying on the previous show, which I don't mean top table talk. I think it was the previous show to that when we did the reaction. Yeah, for me, we needed to go with a strong team for this game because we knew that by gaining 3 points and getting on 13 points, I think in the previous show, by the way, the reaction show, when I was talking about it, I did watch back some of the things I was saying, and I was like, 9 points. We're on 9 points. We need to get to 12 points. And then I realised quickly that we were actually on 10 points, not 9 points. I'd forgotten about the points at Leverkusen. But I knew that obviously by securing all 3 points tonight, we would all but definitely be in the playoffs. So it was so important that we played our strongest team tonight. And I believe that's exactly what we did. And also, boys, which I think is important to mention, when we were talking about this potential lineup, again, not on top table talk, it was the show previous. It was us boys, wasn't it? Was said, would we maybe start Trippier? Now, obviously, before the weekend gone, if you'd have told me that we were going to start Trippier 2 games in a row, I probably wouldn't have believed you, because we were talking about the Premier League game or the Champions League game, and it was to and fro, and which one are we going to do? But yeah, in the end, Kevin Trippier started both games, and justifiably so. But yeah, the rest of the team, I had no issue with, no qualms with. Yeah, it was as expected, and I wouldn't expect anything less for such a big Champions League game.
Let's get into it because this is the PSV team as well. Again, as always, Warfrags turn up and did everyone proud. Right, the next headline was the message with previous headlines from the past in European adventures. So, yes, there's another headline wrote tonight. That is for sure.
That's
right, let's
one of their best ones, Daz. That's one of the best ones that Warflags have done. I like these ones where they're really unique and different. I know they do the big flags. They did one for Keegan, which was also really good. For me, that's one of the best ones they've done. All the old headline clippings from Champions League gone by, all the players that have made a difference in games in the big matches in the Champions League. Who's going to write the next one? I'm sure we'll talk about it tonight, but I just thought that was absolutely top tier.
Exactly, no, it was. Right, let's talk a bit about the game. Stop at the goals along the way, or any talking points. PSV certainly not setting up like wolves in this one. They came to try and play at least. Newcastle applying the pressure on the press. Formats Gordon with a volley from an angle over the bar on 7 minutes. Turnover in possession. Bruno onto J7. J7 unselfishly squared the ball to Wisa. And Wisa getting his goal in the Champions League, putting the ball over the keeper. A goal for Wisa. What is that? How many goals is that now? Is that 3 he's got in total for us?
Yeah.
I think it is. So he's on 12 more to go, Wisa, for the season, the target I set you. But then, of course, there was a VAR check. I don't know why, because you could clearly see that Wisa gets himself back on side, and the ref just kind of had a look, but he waved it away. 1-0 Newcastle. Thoughts on Wisa's goal, Pete?
We set the tone. We absolutely set the tone. You want to keep the ball across the back, we're going to press the hell out of you and we're going to make it difficult. And that's exactly what opened up that game. Yes, they had a lot of possession, but when it came to the moment, we were there to press them to pieces. And we absolutely did that. Brilliant stuff from the likes of Joe Linton, Gordon, Wisa, pressing hard. Their keeper makes a mistake. Bruno mops it up into Joe Linton. You know what, Joe Linton, I thought he was going to shoot, but I thought, what fair play to you. Really intelligent pass, just that little reverse pass inside to Wisa, and it's a nice finish, similar to what Gordon scored, I think, against Benfica. That little kind of like hit into the ground and just bounces over the keeper. I've got to say though, lads, you know what? Fair play to the ref. Fair play.
100%. 100%.
And you know what? We need more of that in the game. We need more of that in the Premier League. Because I tell you what, the fact that VAR asked him to go and look at that monitor was an absolute disgrace. There was nothing wrong with that goal. It's clearly second phase. As the commentators quite rightly pointed out, there was nothing to do with that goal. That was a perfectly well-worked goal. And I love the fact that the referee went, no, nothing wrong with that goal. That's a goal. I absolutely love that. And we need our referees in England to take more responsibility and go, you know what? I'm going to stick with my original decision. I think that was that goal was fine, or I think I made the right decision and it's not a goal. Whatever it is, the referees need to take more responsibility because ours are weak as anything in the Premier League. Fair play to that man. Set the tone. Brilliant goal. Love it that Wisa got his first goal in the Champions League. Well deserved as well. And yeah, we were absolutely on a roll. It was just the perfect start from Newcastle United. It really, really was.
Did you like that one, Chris? How was it for you?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And as Pete's mentioned, you know, where we started in the way that we meant to go on. And boys, you know, you may hear me, as I've seen someone in the chat there saying, pick up the positives, not the negatives. And you know what? It's absolutely right. Like tonight is about the positives. It's about celebrating the win. I think from my point of view, it's just a frustration. But the point I wanted to make was what we saw in those minutes leading up to the first goal. So the 7th minute was when the first goal. We've seen it in the 91st, 92nd minute as well. It was just from start to finish. It was absolutely brilliant. I've got to give a big shout out to Bruno. because I loved that Bruno won the ball back and played the ball into Joe Linton. Now, we had two options at that point, and he made it look very, very simple, but he literally looks up, gives the ball. And Pete, you mentioned in the chat, didn't you? Like, Joe Linton did fantastically well for that goal, and he absolutely did. And rightfully so, he'll get the assist. But I wanted to give a shout out to Bruno because he won't appear on the, in terms of either the goal or the assist. But yeah, it was a really good piece of play from Bruno. Really, really good. And Pete, you took the words out my mouth. The big thing I was going to talk about this goal was Premier League referees, are you watching? Because that is exactly what you want to see. A strong referee has a quick look at it, blow the whistle, goal, get rid of that nonsense. Because as you can clearly see, it's a second phase in play, as you mentioned, Pete. Johan Visser is running back. His back's the goal. The goalkeeper's got the whole spread of the pitch. There's not any infringements. He can clearly see what's going on. And by the time the ball gets played by Joe Linton, Johan Visser's well behind the defender. So I don't even know why we're having the discussion. It's ridiculous. And the fact that VAR brought that up, but then later on there was a decision where VAR, for me, should have got involved, but they didn't. It baffled me. But it was great to see such a strong referee. And I had good vibes then, because I thought we're going to get a fair rub of the green here. This referee knows what he's doing. So really set the tone for the match too, which I really liked.
Don't worry, Chris. We talk a bit more about Bruno later in the show. Newcastle continue to go in search of another 23 minutes. Botman to Malik Chow, 1-2 header. Botman with a kind of miscued volley went wide. Then on the 29th minute, we saw with the press. The defender fumbles it. Wisa touches onto Gordon with the tap in to make it 2-0. Anthony Gordon with the goal, and he acknowledges that the brilliance of Wisa here in getting that goal. Of course, he did. He made all that, all his pressing and made that goal. What should we make of this goal, boys?
Go on, Chris. Go for it, fella.
Again, an example of us closing the gaps, closing the spaces, really high pressing, lots of energy, lots of enthusiasm. Johan Visser does brilliantly for it. And yeah, Anthony Gordon's got a really simple finish. And I love the little dance from Gordon at the end as well. You've seen Gordon absolutely thriving tonight. And I'll tell you what, if Thomas Tuchel's watching, that is the Anthony Gordon that he probably knows and loves. That's the Anthony Gordon. Tonight was the Anthony Gordon that we all know and love, and we want to see more of. I hope tonight, boys, Eddie, I'll get him in the dressing room and go, boys, that's the marker. That's the marker. And if you want to carry on having nights like tonight, you need to do in the Premier League to ensure we get the qualification next season. But yeah, really, really impressed. Again, it's a very simple goal. There was nothing too technical about it, but it was the fact that it was the hard work and the effort and the pressing that made the goal. And the thing that impressed me most about Newcastle tonight is we saw times where PSV Eindhoven wanted to keep the ball. And I did actually find myself sitting there going, is this why we're seeing the best of Newcastle United? Because PSV are keeping hold of the ball. They want the ball. They sat deep. Then they came attacking a bit more. But we found, it was weird. I don't know whether you boys felt the same. It found like it felt like we were in control of the game. So whether PSV was sitting deep and we had to, go and press, but they were keeping possession, but we go press, or when PSV decided to go a bit further forward and venture forward and be a bit brave, it was like a button was tweaked and it was like, right, change our approach ever so slightly, but it worked. It worked, and that was what was so good, particularly about that first half performance. But yeah, goal made up for Anthony Gordon. He keeps this fantastic run going that he's on in the Champions League. And he's broken that open play duck as well, which can only be a good thing.
Before I get Pete's thoughts on Gordon's tap in, I think I have to play this.
Flash! Here's a miracle!
Right, Pete. Who are you going in on here? It's definitely Wisa. Wisa made this goal for Flash.
Yeah, you know what? But both of them deserve massive praise because, Wisa does fantastically well because he just doesn't give the defender time to breathe, and he's on him straight away. He's on that touch, like a flash. And he not only muscles him off the ball. I love the way that he kind of slides in and knocks the ball all in one motion, and he has to do that because the defender does get back. If he stays upright, he doesn't get that ball into Gordon. But the fact that he's willing to go to ground and just kind of nick that ball into Gordon, but Gordon deserves massive praise for anticipating that was the move. So he anticipates that Weiss is going to close him down, and he's already on the march. You can see it from the side of the goal. He makes that dash, and he's there, and it's literally he's the only other one that supported Weiss in that situation, and he allows himself to get a tap in. And look, I don't care how Newcastle United score, whether they're tap-ins, whether they're smashed in from 30 yards, as long as they're going to the net, it doesn't really matter. And it was great for Gordon to get that goal on the receiving end, because Gordon had started well. He worked hard. He was pressing hard. You could tell it was a Champions League night. He was bang up for it. He was tracking back. He was doing all the things he needed to do. He covered so much ground just in that short period of time. He deserved the goal, and fair play to him. And it was nice to see those two boys link up, Gordon and Weiss. It was nice to see them work. But I have to say, lads, this is not a negative, by the way, but this is what we saw in those two goals in particular, but particularly that second goal. That's the reason why Eddie Howe chose Johan Weiss to play, because with all due respect to Nick Woltemade, he would not create that moment of goal. He hasn't got the pace. It's not his fault. He just hasn't got that skill set. This is why Weiss plays, because we can play that high pressing, expansive type football to really kind of startle and unsettle opposition teams. When you've got Weiss in the team, he's got that little bit more pace and that little bit more sort of intensity in his running to close people down. Woltemade does do it, but he just lacks that little bit of pace to be able to do that. And that's a big reason why Eddie Howe, now he's fit, is going with Weiss in these type of games, because he makes the difference in those moments. And Weiss was brilliant. Gets that ball in. Gordon slams it home. And I was thinking in my mind at 1-0, if we can get a second goal, it's game over. And I was really confident at that point that PSV were not getting back in this game. And in actual fact, I was actually thinking we're probably more likely to score more goals in this game, because just of the way we're playing, they just couldn't handle us, couldn't handle the press. It was too good for them. Too good. We're too physical. Joe Linton being a menace in the midfield in the lead up to that moment. It was just brilliant all round from Newcastle United. And like Chris, you mentioned it before, it's a case of, this is great to see. We want to see more of this style of football, because this is what we fell in love with Eddie Howe's Newcastle United, watching football like this. This is what we love about our team. And we haven't seen it really very much this season. It was great to see it back.
Good news, boys. The team photo's in, by the way. We'll come to that later on. Right, because we said then with put more pressure on defenders. The back, and then ended up in the back pass to the keeper. Not intentional, says the ref. Then a bit of bad news. Bruno goes down holding his ankle. He tries to continue. He does last a while, but you can see then he's not shaking this one off, and he's indicating to the bench that he wants to come off. So on 47 minutes, Bruno is off. Miley is on. Bruno is unable to play. More about that at the end. Let's hope he's okay pretty soon, and it's not a long-term injury. That took us to half time, but no, that's actually there's a small bit more. A tame shot for Pope to save and hold, but that was PSV's first shot on target in the game, so that came in the 51st minute. Half time, 2-0 Newcastle. Any thoughts on the extra thoughts on that first half, boys?
Go on, fella. Go for it.
Just majorly impressed. However, I did find myself thinking, I wonder what the second half's going to look like. We've gone in 2-0 half time, no complaints, loads of effort, loads of pressing, a lot of agency. Do you know what? I used the word agency. There was a lot of agency tonight. It was like, got to do a job tonight. And we absolutely did that. But then we come out second half, exactly the same. And it was honestly, it was just so refreshing. But yeah, in terms of the first half, to go into, I think secretly we were all a little bit, maybe nervous is too strong a word, but we were all kind of wondering what's going to happen, with this PSV game. My wife Lisa, she said to me before the game, she's like, "Are these any good? Like, should you win?" And I was like, "Yeah, we should win." And if you'd asked me before the tournament started, I'd have gone, "Yeah, PSV at home, no problem, that'll be fine." I said, but look at what they did to Liverpool not so long ago. So clearly, a half decent team, PSV. Certainly, one of the well-respected clubs in the Eredivisie. But you would think that, Premier League club, we'd have too much of them. But I was a little bit worried over that Liverpool game, boys, because they did absolutely tear Liverpool apart. But yeah, really happy, 2-0 up, and I was really looking forward to the second half and hoping, not like what we've seen this season, that we were going to replicate what we did first half, second half.
Pete, anything else on that first half?
Just a superb half of football. I really, really enjoyed it. I've said it to you boys on so many other shows that we've done recently. I haven't really enjoyed Newcastle United play this season. Well, we're going back into 2025 now, the beginning of that first half of the season. I haven't really watched and enjoyed watching Newcastle United play, but that was the most enjoyable half of football that I've seen Newcastle United play in a long time. The style of football, the intensity, the work rate, obviously the goals as well, where they're just rewards. It was just really refreshing to see from Newcastle United. Controlled the game well. People might say, "Oh, PSV had a lot of possession, this, that, and the other," but I think that was how Eddie Howe set up our team. He set up our team to go, right, PSV, you go with the ball, fair enough. We'll counter-attack you. We'll press you to hell. We'll make it difficult for you. Our boys are bigger, stronger, more physical than you. And in that first half, we were dominating. And we were absolutely dominating.
No, you're right, Pete. And it was a bit of like land of the giants for PSV. Something we touched on in a previous show. I think it was Wolves, who were talking about going long. But anyway, into that second half, Newcastle go in search of a third. PSV can't handle J7 at all. No one can get near him or touch him. He was just having a great game as well. Because he had a bit of space, they were kind of selling off him. But 57 minutes, J7 plays in Gordon. Lovely ball from J7 actually, but he kind of holds on to it too long, and it kind of then fizzles out. 58 minutes, we said nearly gets onto a mildly lobbed cross, slight push on Wisa, but nothing. Did you want to touch on that, Chris?
That was what I was referring to, mate, because when I first seen it, I didn't think much of it. I thought, one of them, where like the defender, pushes up against the striker and the striker just falls. But when I watched it back, the contact is made by the defender on like the lower half of his body, which then knocks him off balance. And then you can see that's why Visser's going, ref, come on, look. Because if the defender had like challenged him from like the top half of his body, like a push, not saying a two-handed push because that would be a penalty, but like just was a bit physical with him and maybe put his chest on his back and just kind of, edged him off the ball. But it was the fact that he went in at a certain height on him. I think he raised his leg, and then you can see Visser's body position. He's up, and then all of a sudden his body goes like that, and it's like, hang on a minute, he can't challenge for the ball because you basically took out the bottom half of his body. So for me, if VAR were going to get involved at any point in the game, it was that. It was that. They should have sent the referee over for that. And I think if the referee had seen that, who knows? I think if that was given as a penalty, I don't think anyone would have complained, because when you saw the particular angle at slow motion, when you saw Visser's body change, like the shape, it's clear he's had a decent thigh or a knee on the bottom half of his body, which is then thrown him off balance, which means he can't challenge for the ball.
Yeah, no, there's definitely something in that, Chris, for sure. Because I was thinking the same thing, but I think maybe because we're tuning it up, I didn't have as much conviction in it. But Anthony, you want to say on that bit, Pete?
What I will say is that crossing was a brilliant cross. Had the defender not touched Wisa gets a clear header on goal.
Yeah.
And for me, defenders ease players off the ball all the time, but the fact that he's put him off balance to not get that direct header on goal, he is denying the striker a clear goal scoring opportunity. So therefore, for me, I think it's a penalty. That, in my opinion, I think that's a penalty because he is denying him a clear goal scoring opportunity. He gets ahead to that ball. The cross is perfect. It's literally falling onto his head, and he is going to get it towards goal. Like you can see he's already there. He's already up early. He's already there to meet it. But because he gets eased off, it sets his body off. Yeah. And so that's why he can't get the head off, because the defender almost pushes him or eases him away from where the ball was. So he ends up kind of, when the ball falls, he's almost behind it. In front of it, and he's having to get his head back to head the ball. He's denied him an opportunity, a clear goal scoring opportunity. So if that was on the ground and a tackle had been made and he was just about to shoot, you would expect a penalty. So just because it's in the air doesn't mean it's not a penalty. He's eased him off the ball, which defenders do, but he stopped him having a clear goal scoring chance. So for me, I think it's a penalty.
Yeah, I also think that the VAR should have at least looked at it and maybe brought it to the attention of the ref. Anyway, let's go on. 64 minutes, Harvey Barnes with a moment of magic. Popey with a long kick from the offside, from an offside free kick. The defender gets a touch. Barnes collects it and drives at PSV, and he applies that finish. Here is Barnes with that finish. And that meant then we're 3-0 up, and all three of our front three score. Has that ever happened for us? I cannot remember that ever happened before. Yeah. But boys, Pete, I'm going to go to you first. Thoughts on Barnes' goal? Your boy.
My thoughts on Barnes? You know my thoughts on Barnes. I love this guy. Newcastle's version of Robin Hood. He steals from PSV and gives to the Geordies. That's what he does. He just gives us absolute joy. Boys, this goal is outstanding. It's an outstanding piece of football. Not only to get full control of the ball, but to maneuver that ball onto his left-hand side and just glides past the defender with absolute ease and then just smashes it into that far corner. Harvey Barnes is on absolute fire right now. We are finally this season seeing what Barnes is all about, and this is why this is what I saw at Leicester before he signed for us. He had lots of disruption first season with injury. Like second season, of course, he was in and out of the team because Gordon was getting preference. Fair enough. But give him regular football, and he's one of the first names on the team sheet now. This is what with a lad that's full of confidence, this is what he'll produce. He is absolutely brilliant. Was it his best game today? Not really. But with Barnes, he'll turn up and have moments like that. He'll create moments with nice little runs inside. And I said to you boys, and I think it was the Leeds game. Barnes has that free roll on the right-hand side, so he drifts infield. He's not a Murphy that stays on the touchline, so he's drifting in and finding little pockets of space, and that's where he was again, right in the middle of play, to be able to manipulate that ball and finish. He is a top player for Newcastle United. I'm loving watching him play. It's a brilliant goal, lads. It's such a good goal. It'll be an underrated goal this week in the Champions League. They'll probably give other goals that are scored from 20 yards out and whatever that have hit the top corner, and fair play. But this goal was a piece of brilliance from Harvey Barnes, and he deserves all the credit he's getting at the moment. It's outstanding. The guy's on fire. I love it. Absolutely love it. And as I always say, boys, this is why they paid the 38 million. I will keep telling you that all the time. I'll keep telling you. I've got a question for you boys, actually, around Harvey Barnes. We'll come to that at the end.
Okay, keep that one for now. Chris, your thoughts on Harvey Barnes' goal? Harvey Barnes.
I'm just laughing at this comment from Tanguy. Nan's tortoise would have scored that golden goal. Not getting carried away with words like class. Barnes' goal was the best goal. And do you know what? You've led me nicely in there, Tanguy. Yeah, I was equally as excited as Pete. Pete's described it very well. I kept shouting at the screen, feet, because his footwork was unbelievable. Absolutely, the balance that he shows. He first of all he carries the ball and he's jinking. He's moving from left to right. He's causing all kinds of issues, and then gets into the box and just a really, really good strike, a really, really good goal. But that's typical of Harvey Barnes this season, boys. He's been absolutely brilliant, hasn't he? So yeah, made up for Harvey Barnes. Obviously, we got the trademark celebration, which absolutely love. So yeah, and then at that point, boys, 3-0, it's wrapped up. The points are in the bag. And then for me, it was just about keeping a clean sheet because I wanted us to maintain that clean sheet. Not that PSV looked particularly threatening because they didn't. But yeah, fantastic goal by Harvey Barnes, made up for him. And yeah, Daz, I hadn't even picked up on that, what you said. The first time the front three have all scored. Yeah. Good point.
Yeah. Hopefully we see that again. Right, 69 minutes. Barnes again with the ball across to Wisa. It just gets away from him though. He does get a slight touch, but it was just unlucky that it got away. On comes the subs. Right time for Eddie to make some subs because we're 3-0 up. Why not? So Big Nick comes on, Visa comes off, Alanga comes on, Gordon comes off, Ramsey comes on, J7 comes off. Now J7 had a yellow card coming into this game, so he didn't want to pick up another one, which he normally does in every game we play. But he didn't even put in give away a free kick, I don't think today, but which was very surprising. But yeah, it means that he can play against PSG. 75 minutes, Alanga cross to Big Nick. Keeper saves the header from Big Nick. Alanga did well when he came on as well. I must say, Alanga then had a shot that hit the side netting, getting on the end of a Ramsey pass. 85 minutes of sub. Willock comes on. Trips comes off. Yes, everyone wants us to talk about this as well. Yes, who gets the arm right? This man, Lewis Miley. Hey, Lewis Miley. As he moves to right back, and then he even raises his game further again because he does the job. Like he never lets us down. Lewis Miley. That took it to, and you're still clapping, Pete, there. Yeah, I agree with that one. But that took us to full time, 3-0. Newcastle safely into the next round of the Champions League. But we want to get that, stay in that top 8, but that's for another discussion. Boys, before we go on to anything else, full time thoughts on the second half or any of the little bits we mentioned there.
Go on, Chris, go for it, mate.
Just really, really pleased. As I said at the very start, I didn't want to be negative, but I did find myself thinking, "Where's this Newcastle been?" Because I honestly, and I'm sure everyone at home's probably feeling the same, lads. Like I really enjoyed watching that game. I loved every minute of it, and I just saw. I mean, I said this a few weeks ago, didn't I? But I just saw the old Newcastle, loads of pressing, loads of endeavour. But I did find myself asking, is this because it's Champions League? Is it because it's a big night? It's a big stage? I don't know. I mean, obviously we'll come to that point, won't we, when we play Villa at the weekend? But I just found myself thinking, God, if only we'd been playing like that this season. If we played most teams like we did tonight against PSV, we wouldn't be where we are in the league. We really wouldn't. And I tell you what, we certainly wouldn't be going into the second leg of a Carabao Cup semi-final 2-0 down, because if we played like that against Man City, it wouldn't have been 2-0. It really, really wouldn't. So a little bit of frustration for me, but remaining on that positive bandwagon. Great game. Really enjoyed it. Loved, all the effort that the lads put in. And Daz, you made a great point. Even the subs, Voldemars are coming on, looking a threat. And it just goes to show, doesn't it, boys, that it can be done, because the balls were coming in the box. Anthony Alanga's picking up the ball, looking confident, driving forward with the ball, making the right decision, laying the ball off when he needed to, not keeping hold of it too long or dilly-dallying or letting the defender, nick it off him. He was passing it, he was moving. I thought Anthony Elanga did really well when he come on.
And
do you
he's
know what?
sprinting back as well.
Yeah.
Getting back to the right back spot when he needs to as well. So fair play.
Absolutely, I'm open that does him the world of good, and it was great because there was I forget what I wouldn't say it was a missed opportunity, but it was him sprinting anyway, and whether the ball went out for the corner or whatever it was, but all the Newcastle fans cheered him, as if to show the appreciation, and I thought he needs that. He really, really needs that because he put in a lot of effort. And I don't think anyone can question his effort since he's been at Newcastle United, but maybe his decision-making, maybe his confidence, his confidence will have taken a hit. There's no doubt about it. But that, I hope, will have done in the world of good tonight. Jacob Ramsey coming on did well. But as I say, Baltimore did well. Lewis Miley did... Well, Lewis Miley's just Lewis Miley, isn't he? Do you know what I mean? He slots into that right back position like he's played there all his life. Even in the dying embers of the game, he's up on the byline, and he's coming up against the winger, and he's just knocking it against the winger and winning a throw in. Just like casual as you like, just little tiny things like that, which keep you in possession and take all the pressure off the ball and allow everyone to come back and get back into position. Just all these little things. I struggle to see any negatives in a whole from the game. A few outstanding performances. I thought Joe Linton was absolutely brilliant. Lewis Hall, I want to talk on him later. He's just, and anybody, and if there's any Arsenal fans in the chat, and I doubt there is, but if there is any Arsenal fans in the chat, I don't want to hear any more about Lewis Skelly. Don't want to hear about it. Different levels. Do you remember when we were in from Arsenal fans? Oh, he's no Lewis Skelly. He's no Lewis Skelly.
They know it now. They don't even know. The Arsenal fans I speak to, they don't even bring him up. They know the score. It was a flash in the pan.
Lewis Hall is. You're right, mate. And Lewis Hall now, the performances he's putting in, he's so. It's mad to say, but he is so important to us from now till the end of the season, because not just from a defensive point of view, but the way he travels with the ball, and he's got this brilliant, link-up play with Anthony Gordon. He brings Anthony Gordon to life. Anthony Gordon is a better player when Lewis Hall's on the pitch. He absolutely is. And, we just need to keep Lewis Hall fit. We've got to look after him. And Pete, I had a little moment, didn't I, in the chat when Lewis Hall went down, and I was thinking, no, we can't lose
at the end. Hall. Yeah.
Oh, and Pete was like, don't worry. I think it's just I forget the word you used, an impact injury. He was like, yeah, he's fine. So, and then you see him getting up and carrying on. So we could just take him off, just make sure he's all right. But he plays on and he seemed okay. So, but yeah, and Sven Botman as well. I have to give a shout out to Sven Botman. Didn't have an awful lot to do, but I do think that was because of the way that he marshaled that back line. He was in control of everything tonight. I thought Sven Botman was brilliant, and it's great to see Sven Botman and Malik Chow pairing up. Someone in the chat, I think it might have been Sophie, said it earlier. It's great to see that partnership up and running again, because Malik Chow and Sven Botman are both very, very good centre backs. And big shout out to Kevin Trippier as well, and to Nick Pope, and to Sandro Tonali. I'm happy with it. I'm happy with everyone. I am. I thought it was a really well-rounded performance. Really do.
Chris, I want to jump in on one thing before we go to you talk about Lewis Hall. I think I could have said this last year as well when Lewis Hall was flying as well. I'm getting the Gareth Bale vibes of him. I just think he's just super. He's just unreal, and I think he'd be equally as good on the wing if we ever wanted to push him in that position, a bit like Bale. Then I started thinking, oh shit! I hope Real Madrid don't come calling later in life. But he's a Newcastle fan. But we need to look after him as well and make sure he's paid properly as well. Not just because he's a Newcastle fan. We need to look after him. But yeah, he's absolutely unreal. Sorry, Pete, thoughts on the game as a whole?
No, look, for me, that was the most enjoyable 96 minutes I've watched of Newcastle United for a long time. Sitting back and watching Newcastle United play the way they do, the way we love Newcastle United to play is a joy. It's a joy watching Newcastle United when they're playing with that intensity, that press, that work rate, and then adding the quality to it. It was great. You've gone through a number of different players there that have played well tonight. They were all brilliant. Now, some of them didn't have their best games, I thought, Barnes wasn't amazing, but he scored a superb goal, but that's what he does. Thought Trippier was quiet, a little bit sloppy early on, but he grew into the game. And I thought by the end of it, he just ran out of steam. But I thought he grew into the game and was better as the game went on. We needed his experience to see us through little bits of moments in the second half, which I thought was superb. For me, Johan Wissa, if we can get him fully fit and firing, he will absolutely be our number 9. He'll be our main guy. As much as we love Nick Voltemade as well, Johan Wissa will be the guy that leads the line in the games that matter. There's no doubt about it, because with that work rate and that press, we might be able to salvage what we were doing last season. We can bring that type of football back, and we saw a little snippet of that tonight. And I'm excited about what he can bring to that team if we continue to play that way. A few things that are very, very clear to me now, lads. That front three is the best front three for Newcastle United. And in particular, Gordon and Barnes have to play. They have to play. Even when Murphy's back, even when Alanga's up and running, those two have to play, because what you've got is running power, you've got quality of finishing, and it just seems to click together when those three are on the pitch. So for me, that is at the moment, and Nick Voltemade may have something to say about that, and I hope he does, because we want him to step up and start putting the ball in the net. They are our front three. I have to give special praise to Joe Linton. Joe Linton set the tone for me for Newcastle United. He helped initiate the press. The guy has returned. He's returned. He's back. The monster is back. Joe Linton was an absolute monster tonight. Those PSV boys were absolutely scared of him. They didn't get anywhere near it. He was absolutely bossing them all over the pitch. He didn't need to go over the top. He was just his physical presence was enough to scare those players. The amount of recoveries he made was superb. His intensity was brilliant. Joe Linton has been back since he came back from that injury, and he came and he played against Burnley. Came off the bench against Man United, I think it was, and then he played against Burnley. And since then, he's just got better and better and better every single game. He has been absolutely brilliant. He set the tone for Newcastle United. Other players, I would say, a big shout out to Sven Botman. Lots of people have questioned Sven Botman, but Sven Botman was brilliant tonight. He was the best of the two, in my opinion, of the centre-backs. And actually, that is what you call a Champions League centre-back pairing. Sven Botman and Malik Chow. We will go well with those two, marshalling our defence. I was really impressed at the amount of or the small amount of chances we limited PSV to tonight. And just an interesting stat, Premier League wise, in terms of XG, in terms of expected chances that we concede, we're second in the league to Arsenal. Arsenal are the only ones that are better than us that limit teams to chances. That tells you everything you need to know. Our defense is good. Our defense is good, right? Yes, we've conceded a few goals recently, but our defense is good. It's about what we can do to put the ball in the net. That's the key. Lewis Hall, you've talked about quite rightly, Chris. He's a superstar. Best left back in the Premier League by far. That's what I need to say on him. Tonali was better tonight. He grew into the game, a little bit sloppy early on, but grew into the game. Was very, very good. I want to talk about Anthony Elanga. He was good when he came on. But why I'm talking about Anthony Elanga is not necessarily about his performance. I've got to big up that 52,000 in the stadium tonight, because I tell you what, for about 5-6 minutes in that game, they did nothing but sing his name. And that would be the absolute confidence boost that he needs right now. That would have given him that confidence to make some of those runs, some of those passes that you boys have just talked about. That would have gave him that confidence to know that the fans were backing him, because it was only a game or two ago when he came off the bench and they were kind of groaning and moaning every time he gets the ball. A player that's confidence is on the floor, he doesn't need that. He needs fans that unequivocally just get behind him. He's our boy. When he wears that black and white, he represents Newcastle United. We might not always appreciate and like his performances or what he does on the ball, but we have to back him. He's our boy, and he will be for a long time to come. So I love the fact that the 52,000 plus got behind him, they sang his name and they backed him, and he will walk off that pitch tonight with that little cameo with a real boost of confidence, and that can only be a good thing for Newcastle United because we need him. We absolutely need Anthony Elanga playing for us and playing well for us. We spent a lot of money on him, but we need to show that we back that lad and we believe in him, as frustrating as it was. Literally, Jordan Croning's just literally tweeted out now, and I read it to you. It's just literally popped up. And Eddie Howe has basically just said this, so it falls quite nicely. He said, a massive thank you to the crowd for that, because we wanted to create a football club that's in love with each other. That's a huge statement from the supporters. I think Anthony's responded with his performance in the last 2 games, and he's been really, really good. And you know what? Fair play. The fans will be the ones that will help rebuild Anthony Elanga, and it will be a rebuilding job in our image, in the Newcastle United image, the way we want him to play. So we've got to get behind him. We absolutely have to get behind him. So a big up to the fans tonight in the stadium, because they helped create that little cameo of a performance from Anthony Elanga, that is for sure. And lastly, for me, big praise to Eddie Howe. Eddie Howe got his selection spot on. He got his tactics spot on. He got his substitution spot on. The only issue I had, boys, is that Bruno Guimaraes was asking to come off for about 5 or 6 minutes. And you boys know, because I said it in the chat, he was asking to come off for 5 or 6 minutes before he eventually came off. They should have took him off instantly. They should not have took a chance on him. That's the only issue I have with anything that the staff did tonight. They should have took him off early. But Eddie Howe, with his selection, with his tactics and his setup of the game, with his substitutions and the players that came on, he nailed it. On a big Champions League night with a big moment for Newcastle United. Could have gone either way. He nailed it. Big props to our manager.
Yeah.
Boys, let's have a look at the team photo. All eyes on Bruno's ankle. Wherever he is.
Oh God, yeah, he's on the left, isn't he? By Ramsey and Willock.
Yeah, what has he got? His flippy flops on.
Yeah, and he's holding it. He's holding it. Yeah, isn't he?
Well, there's a bit of an update. I've got a picture in there with regards to, if you want me to.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah. So yeah, I'll just put it up on the screen. Oh, sorry. Yeah, it's there. So as Eddie Howe has said from Craig Hope, he's a little bit sore. There's a little bit of swelling around the ankle. And we hope that it's not serious, but it's difficult to know. And it's a worry he had to come off. It didn't look great. It looks like he's opened up the ankle. So when the corner's gone in, he's obviously jumped normally. And it happens to the best of us. I've experienced it 3 or 4 times playing football, where you just kind of land and your ankle just jolts. It just moves like that. Just, you don't intend it to, but it's just the way your foot lands and your boot lands. It just rolls on its own. It just opens up the joint. Hopefully it's just opened it up and it's just a little bit uncomfortable. Hopefully a bit of ice and a bit of care from the physios. These guys are elite physios. They'll be around the clock working on him between now and Sunday. Hopefully he'll be able to recover from that. But it did remind me a little bit of maybe not the same type of injury, but I don't remember a few years ago when we were fighting Champions League and he got injured. And he had to come off against Fulham, and we were all a bit worried, like, oh, are we going to lose him for a period of time? And then, like, we played Fulham on the Sunday, and then on the Saturday, we went to Selhurst Park against Palace, and he was in the team, and everyone was like, what? Because we saw him, like, on crutches. We're like, oh, no. And then all of a sudden, like, he's playing on Saturday, and, like, playing like he wasn't injured. So I'm hoping for that type of response. But ultimately, lads, we've got to think a big picture. If it means he doesn't play on Sunday, but then can play maybe the next week and beyond, then we've just got to look after him. We can't afford to take big risks on him. So for me, I just think we've just got to be careful. Got to be very, very careful with Bruno.
We do.
Boys, how about a league table where everything looks rosy? Who wants to see that?
Oh, definitely.
Let's do it. Let's do it live. Here we go. Boom. Here is the Champions League table. I'll zoom it up a small bit so people can see it. It doesn't really matter how much I zoom it up because we're still towards that top. Obviously, with Arsenal sitting at 21 points, Bayern Munich, Real Madrid, Liverpool, Spurs. I don't know how they got
Our Spurs
there. 14 points. The Giants of PSG as well, on level on points with Newcastle, and Chelsea scraped their way through. Was it 1-0 in the end?
1-0.
Yeah, they got in there as well. So look, this is the top 8. If the league phase was to finish now, we'd be straight through to the round of 16. Let's just see who's below us as well. On goal difference, Barcelona, Sporting, Man City, Atlanta, all level on points with us. Then you've got Inter, Juventus, Dortmund. These are all the seeded positions. If they're sitting in those positions at the moment for the playoffs, the knockouts. And then you've got Galatasaray, Korberg, Marseille, Leverkusen, Monaco, PSV, Athletic Club, and Olympiacos. And so on and so forth. Keep going all the way down. But it does look good for the English side as well. All 5 are in that top 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which has to be good for the coefficient, which we're a good bit ahead on actually as well. If you go check that out. But boys, thoughts on the league table for the Champions League as it stands, and as we know, we're through to the knockout phases anyway. Whether we're straight through the round of 16 or we have to go through into the knockout phases.
Go for it. Go on, Chris. What we're thinking?
Yeah. So for me personally, I sound like a right negative Nigel tonight, don't I? But for me personally, I'm not getting too excited, and the reason being is, Daz, you made the great point. There's a lot of teams who are on 13 points like ourselves. Then you've also got teams on 12. I'm just going to take the glass off a minute so I can see. Then you've got a few on 12. You've got Dortmund on 11. Galatasaray, Karabag also on 10. So obviously we can't be caught. We can't be caught from Karabag down. Below Karabag. Obviously Marseille are on 9. So even if they won, they'd only be on 12 points. So we're guaranteed at this point to finish in the top 18. If being honest, I think we're going to finish somewhere between 9th and 18th. That's how I see it. And the reason I say that is because we've got a very, 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 very difficult game against PSG. Somebody in the chat mentioned it, and it was a great point. It's such a shame PSG didn't win yesterday, because if PSG had won yesterday against Sporting, PSG now would be on 16 points, and they would probably, they'd have secured top 8, and they'd probably be resting players against us. Now, I think PSG are probably going to play their strongest team against us because they will want to secure top 8. So it's going to be difficult. But as we said, boys, all I wanted was to be through to the next round. Now, Sophie pointed out, we're not through to the next round, through to the qualifiers. But yeah, I in terms of the next stage, I want to just be through to the next stage. And we've guaranteed that now. We are through to the next stage, which is the qualifying rounds, bare minimum. Obviously, if we were to finish in that top 8, we go straight through to the last 16, as you mentioned. As last 16 would be a dream, of course it would. But I just think it's going to be a difficult game, bearing in mind we're away to the holders of the Champions League. So it's not going to be easy. But we've done fantastically well. We've set out what we wanted to achieve. If you'd have said to me before this all began, you will finish in the top 24 and you will, go through to the qualifying rounds, I'd have took that. I'd have absolutely took it, because we've given ourselves a fighting chance, which is the main thing. Are we capable of winning at PSG? If we play like we did tonight, we certainly are. But let's see. But listen, tonight is about celebrating, and it's about enjoying the evening, enjoying the performance. So yeah, I'm absolutely delighted, and to be even in with a shout of top 8, boys, is an achievement. It's really, really good. So fair play to Eddie and fair play to the lads.
I really want to press this simulate results button. Let's see what that does.
Where's it put us?
It has.
Oh.
What's it done?
Oh, is it?
I don't know what that did. Anyway,
Oh, so is that just brought up the fixtures on the left so you can see what the games were?
all right. It just gives you the scores of all the games.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough. Never mind that. Pete, thoughts on where we're sitting there now, and as we had a bit of a discussion on this as well. What we think what I was going to say there. No, go to you, and I'll come back to me. Thoughts on the table.
We're in a great position. Already now, we've guaranteed that we are a seeded team. Even if we finish below the top 8, we will finish in the top end of the seeded teams. So that will prioritise us in terms of we'll have the away fixture, I believe, in the second leg of the playoffs, which fits into our favour. And we'll be playing obviously one of the unseeded teams at the bottom. So we could get anyone at this moment in time. It could change, but anyone from Karabakh, Leverkusen, Marseille, Monaco, PSV again potentially, Olympiacos, etc. So it puts us at an advantage by being that. So we've almost guaranteed that because purely of our goal difference is so great. Galatasaray with 10 points have got 0. Karabakh have got -2. And we've got 10. And that, I think, actually could well go in our favour next Wednesday as well, because that could be the difference. It could be the difference. If Liverpool had won tonight and had maybe got a draw, we'd have been above them. We would have been above them on goal difference because our goal difference was superior. They would have been on 13 points like us. So, it can go either way. Tottenham could lose in their last game and we get a point, and we could go above them on goal difference. It puts them in more pressure than us. Like it works around. But I've kind of flipped because I was, talking about Champions League, thinking of the Premier League. It's not a priority. We need to prioritize the Premier League. We don't need to win against PSG. I'm not expecting us to win, but I want the boys to go for it. And there's a couple of reasons. I want them to go for it because I watched PSG last night. And I'm not convinced on PSG. They've got world-class players, but they are vulnerable. I'm not saying we're going to go there and win, but they are vulnerable. We can create chances against them. Absolutely. If anyone watched that Sporting game last night, Sporting, without really too much fuss, created a number of opportunities and quite rightly won the game. Secondly, and most importantly, lads, Newcastle United almost need to go through in the top 8. And the reason being is because if they go through in the top 8, they're saving themselves 2 fixtures in February. 2 massive fixtures in February. That is absolutely huge. Our run is already a nightmare. To add 2 more fixtures to that, regardless of who it's against, would be an absolute nightmare. Although we'd embrace it and go playoffs, we're happy, let's run with it. It's another extra 2 games on top. And so for me, we need to go for that PSG game. So if we can get a point, 3 miracles, whatever you want to call it, and we end up in that top 8, we're saving ourselves 2 big games. It gives our time for our players to be fresh. It gives our players to rest and recuperate, to go ahead in the big fixtures that are February, which is a horrible month. We don't want to add 2 more games to what's already a horrible month. We'll take it and run with it if it comes. But can we save ourselves that? If I'm Eddie Howe and I'm those players, I'm going, we need to go full strength and we need to go at this PSG team. PSG were going to go full strength anyway. I was speaking to Lee about it last night, actually, whilst we're watching the game. PSG were always going to go full strength because in the top 8, if you're nearer the top of the top 8, actually, it benefits you because you get the second leg at home. So it works the same way, like the below the top 8 works. If you're an Arsenal or you're a Bayern Munich and you're who's that there, Real Madrid and Liverpool, you're in a position of strength because you're likely to get the second leg at home in the next round, in the round of 16. So PSG absolutely want that. They don't want it the other way around against potentially getting a nightmare fixture. So Lee was saying off the back of that, they were always going to go full strength regardless, because even though they didn't need to play full strength to get into the top 8 because they're already there, what it put it down to is that they were going for the highest position possible. So regardless, we're always going to come against a good PSG team. We will come up against a good PSG team, but we need to go for it and we need to ask them some questions. And can we get the look this time that we deserved last time? Because we got screwed last time there when we were absolutely
superb.
Can we get a little bit of luck our way and get the result to give us top 8? Let's see. No promises, no guarantees, but could there be a miracle next Wednesday? Let's hope and see.
And I remember the thing I was going to say. For the last round of games, all games happen at the same time because, like the Premier League, it's the last round of the league, so it can't be any messing, let's say, or playing for a draw or whatever to see both sides through. So it is all games at the same time. Chris, we need to have a conversation. Peter, myself, with you about that. We'll do that after the show.
Absolutely.
But that's the table. Let's take that away and let's go to some comments and questions, boys.
Yeah, absolutely. We've had quite a few super chats as we've been chatting. So, lots to get through, and thank you in advance to everybody who has sent in a super chat. Is much appreciated. Firstly, D Bullman, thank you for being a member for 29 months. I think that's Dave, isn't it?
That's from Dave.
Dave, yeah. Cheers, mate. And Dave says Hall was excellent. Miley getting to captain, love it. Absolutely, Dave. Hall was absolutely excellent. All three of us have waxed lyrical over Lewis Hall's performance tonight, as we have for many games this season. But yeah, great to see Louis Miley getting the captain's armband as well. Lovely touch from Kieran Trippier. And somebody in the chat mentions that apparently that wasn't planned. That was just Kieran Trippier being Kieran Trippier. Which is brilliant. Obviously, he was subbed late on in the game and passed the armband to Louis Miley, which is brilliant, and it will have meant a lot to him as well, which is brilliant. So yeah, right. We have a super chat from Checkmeister89. Thank you so much, Checkmeister. And Checkmeister says, "Great win, guys. Buzzing. Please be okay, Bruno." Yeah, we've all got our fingers crossed for that, Checkmeister. Absolutely, we've got to hope that our captain is okay. And it's nothing too serious, and hopefully that's the case. Benny Boy, thank you so much for your super chat, Benny Boy, top man.
Cheers, Benny.
Benny Boy says Lewis Hall is sensational. Love that start. Lewis Hall is sensational. So happy he plays in black and white. How many times did he easily wriggle away from several players who were on him? He's easily our best player, in my opinion. He's so good at football. He's so good at football. He is so good at football, boys. I want to touch a little bit on this one because I said I wanted to come to Lewis Hall towards the end. And I know we've spoken about him briefly, but I want to ask you off the back of what Benny Boy's saying here. For you, is Lewis Hall, he's got to be in the reckoning for an England call-up, surely. Daz, what do you think?
Oh, he's going to the World Cup.
I hope so.
For definite. The only thing, injury is the only thing that I hope he doesn't get injured, would keep him out. I 100% agree with Benny Boy. I'm just delighted he plays for Newcastle, and he's a Newcastle fan. He's not. So as long as we treat him right as well, he's not going to be looking to get away anytime soon, nothing like that. And I agree with Benny Boy. He is good at football.
Absolutely. Pete, are you going to be banging the drum for Lewis Hall to get his call up? Obviously, we know that Thomas Tuchel will have had a really close eye on Lewis Hall. He used to manage Chelsea, where Lewis Hall was in the academy. So I'm assuming he knows all about Lewis Hall. But do you think if Lewis Hall stays fit, that he's going to be on that plane in the summer?
This is wild. We shouldn't be saying, is he going to be called up? We should be saying, when is he going to be called up? And he'll be starting for England. He's our best left back. There is no question about it. There's Nico O'Reilly, who's done all right at Man City, but Lewis Hall's levels. Lewis Hall is levels above Nico O'Reilly. He's levels, even more levels above Lewis Miles Skelly or whatever his name is. Like he's faded to black for Arsenal, which tells you the story and tells you everything you need to know about him. We've been talking about him being loaned out from Arsenal to somewhere else. Lewis Hall is the best English left back in the Premier League. In fact, Lewis Hall is the best left back in the Premier League. There's no doubt about it. There's no argument for me, and there's no argument for me with regards to Lewis Hall. He is an England player and he's an England starter. He has to start for England. He will go to the World Cup. He just needs to keep playing his football for Newcastle United. He needs to keep playing with freedom and playing with that smile on his face and that expressive, expansive football that he plays. I love what he does and how he plays. He plays with a real low center of gravity. People say about how he wriggles past players and people can't get the ball off him. The way he maneuvers the ball is very similar, and watch them. They are similar, not same position, but he's very similar to what Eden Hazard did at Chelsea. The way he maneuvers the ball, because they've got such a low center of gravity, you can't get the ball off them. And he's got the technique to back it. So not only can he weave in and out of players, he's got that low center of gravity where you can't get the ball off him. How many times does he get fouled in a game? He gets fouled all the time because players can't get near him. Yeah. He has the same low center of gravity that Eden Hazard has, and there's a couple of other players the same.
Maradona.
He's a yeah. Maradona. You go through a lot of them. Those smaller players that have got that play low. Even though they're smaller, they play low, so they even crouch down in their movements. You watch him when he's got the ball, he's lower down and he maneuvers in around players, and it's so hard to get the ball off players when they're so technically good, right? And they're quick on the ball and quick in their movements, and so you go to your last resort and you foul them, and that's why he's got so many fouls. He'll be racking up these fouls by the end of the season. Bruno's the highest in the Premier League. He won't be far behind. But he just needs to keep doing his thing. The only thing I'll say about Lewis Hall is because he's so good at weaving, he just continues to do it. And sometimes he needs to release the ball. He just needs to release the ball just that little bit. He's done his business, release the ball. You've done what you needed to do. You've worked us out of a difficult moment. Find your pass or get your cross in. So we've got the end product to him. That's what I want to see more of, because he's not the finished article. Far from it. He's got levels still to go. He's still young enough to have those levels to go to that next phase. I just want to see him do those wriggle movements, wriggle out those situations and get the final ball in or make the final pass, just so it gives an even better outlay to his performance and it just stands him in even higher stead that he already is.
Yeah. And not to mention, he can whip a cracking cross in as well. So he's given us that attacking option, isn't he, in terms of his delivery. His delivery is fantastic. He takes our corners on the right-hand side, whips it in with that left foot. He's been sensational. I agree with Benny Boy. He is sensational, absolutely. So thank you.
I bet you
Benny Boy.
We have seen him the odd time over a free kick. I bet you he could do a job on a free kick as well if he got more chances. This is where I'm kind of saying the Gareth Bale kind of, because that's where Gareth Bale started as well, the left back, and then he moved up. I don't know. But
that's on him though. That's on him. You know, he needs to be putting in the work. Like you mentioned Gareth Bale, you mentioned the likes of Cristiano Ronaldo as well. You throw him into that. At your very young age, what they did, they added strings to their bow. They spent extra time in the training ground working on the set pieces and trying to hone their craft. And you know, Kieran Trippier is another example of that. He wasn't a superb free kicking set piece taker straight away. He worked on it. He practiced. He put the hours in. That's what Lewis Hall needs to do if he wants to add that to his bow and add another area to his game. Like I say, he's not the finished article. He is a superb player, but there are levels. He's got another 3-4 levels to go. That's how good he is. But can he add these little strings to his bow? Can he practice free kicks and become that set piece taker? Can he continue? I'm glad he started to take corners. We need that in swing from the left hand side. Can he keep working on that and really nail that down? Like, because you look at Saka, for example. Saka's practiced that and he nails that for Arsenal to a T. He puts it in the same spot every time, where the likes of Gabriel and Saliba, they know where it's going to land. And so they make their movements to hit it there and they score so many goals from it. Can Lewis Hall add that to his bow, where a Botman and a Chow and a Burn know where it's going to go so they can get on the end of it and add goals and assists to his game?
Yeah.
It's there for him.
Yeah, absolutely. Right, we've got a belter question, by the way, and I'm going to reveal who it's from. I'm not going to ask it yet, but I'm going to reveal who it's from. So if you're watching, make sure you stay tuned. Jono That's some really, really good questions. I'm going to come to that a bit later, boys, and it did make me go, ooh. So, yeah, I'll save that one for shortly. But big shout-outs to the Clon lads, member for 27 months. Thank you so much, the Clon lads. Are you happy if we go into February with this squad? Which is a really, really good question from the Clon lad. Pete, what are your thoughts? I mean, Eddie Howe dismissed in his press conference that we are not in for Vayan, which is a bit disappointing. I will have all eyes on Vayan if he makes that Bournemouth move, which it looks like he's going to. But you know, what are you open, Pete, as of the 21st of January, knowing that the window shuts on the 2nd of February? From now till then, what are you hoping as a bare minimum in terms of our January window?
Well, you boys know how much I wanted Ray, and I've talked about it for a long time now. So disappointed that we're not in the mix for him. But I'll definitely be continuing to watch him at Bournemouth. That is for sure. I never really expected us to go and get an attacking player, to be honest with you. It's all about defenders. Do I think we'll go into the market with how long's left? Every day that passes makes me feel like we're not going to go into the market, if I'm going to be honest with you. I don't see anything that makes me think that they're going to go and sign anybody. I think the club are taking a watching brief, and they are going to take it game by game, because every game's different. We play every 3 days, 4 days. They'll have a watching brief against Villa. They'll have another watching brief midweek against PSG. And then I think if they need to, I think they'll make a decision with 1 or 2 days to go. Do we go and get a player? Bang, we'll go and get one if we need one, or we're not going to. I think it's just going to be a late call. At this moment in time, I don't think we're going to sign a player. With Dan Burn coming back, I don't think we will go and sign a player. That's just me. Would I go and sign a player? Absolutely.
Yeah.
For me, you take advantage of your opportunity and where you are, and you maximize it. You add to what you've got, and you strengthen all areas. In the likelihood that you get an injury, you plan ahead. You're proactive. I'm not sure that Newcastle United will right now. I think it will take another injury to a defender for us to go and make a decision, or potentially, if Bruno's out for a significant amount of weeks, they might make a decision then on a midfielder and go and get somebody. But it just goes back to the point that I made, lads. I'm frustrated. You know, you're looking at other teams, and you don't always want to look at other teams, but you look at other teams and they go out there and they're getting loans with obligations to buy, and they're going out there and they're getting players, known players that are experienced in the Premier League that are going to see them right through to the end of the season. I'm thinking, why are we not doing that? I know we have this model, but needs must, lads. We want Champions League. We want European football as a minimum. We want to be competitive in the Champions League. Why are we not adding to this team? Even if the team looks, or the squad looks strong, add to it. Make it stronger. Make it so we've got a plethora of options. Too many options even. But if that's going to be enough to see us through the season and have everyone fit and firing, so we can go and win game after game every 3 days, why not do it? And that's the one thing that frustrates me about the club's policy, is that we just don't look at players that are out there that we could get even on loan for 6 months, and it benefits us, and we say bye-bye, thank you for your service, and we crack on. I don't get it.
Yeah. And Daz, a super chat here from VIP, the Romero organisation, and that kind of leads me into the question, really, that I wanted to ask you. First of all, VIP, the Romero organisation, says, sad we didn't buy Rayan, which obviously we've just spoke on, but he also says Tonali as centre-back was a good choice. I did have to double take, because I noticed that. I was like, what's Tonali doing there? But what I wanted to ask you was, Daz, off the back of what Pete's just said, and obviously the transfer window, do you think the emergence of Louis Miley as a right back has maybe played into Eddie Howe's thinking a little bit? And also, is the fact that he's experimenting with the likes of Xander Zanali being a makeshift centre-back, is that maybe where Eddie Howe's head's at in terms of utilising the squad that we've got at the moment?
Yeah, no, it does look like that we are waiting in the long grass if something really special came up, or if kind of waiting into that, like Pete said, into that last week, and depending on who's injured, they know what kind of what's the makeup of the squad at that time. If we have a long-term injury that will maybe pounce thin, but if I'm sick of this January window. I think they just should have it as a week. It doesn't need a month. Just have it for a week, because that's when it only gets active anyway. If anything happens at all, it's kind of a bit. Remember last year, nothing happened. No one bought anyone, and even, or was it last year, the time before, where even the guys on Sky Sports, the Sky Sports News, they're bringing in guys talking every day, and nothing was happening. Like, it's just a waste of time. But and yeah, I was wondering who Tunalian was as a centre back. I'd never heard of him, but Tunalian, yeah, I saw him kind of playing there for a bit. Tunali had a better game. Definitely not back to his best, but he had a better game. But again, it's kind of playing in Europe, and there's more space, and they're getting more time on things as well. Maybe you said no negatives, Chris. It's kind of a pity Nick Faltermeyer didn't get a goal, because I just want to get his confidence back again as well. But hopefully he does get a goal soon, and we get him back firing again, because we need everyone fit and firing to kick us on where we want to be.
Yeah, no, definitely, mate, definitely. I'm going to come to you for this one as well, Daz. And the reason I'm coming to you for this one is because Oliver B, we are united again. Thank you for the super chat, Oliver. Oliver says, should Barnes be thinking about an England call up? And the reason I've come to you for this one, Daz, is because straight after it, where is it? I will find it.
I see it. I already see what you're going for.
Yeah, the Clon lad says Barnes for the Republic of Ireland at the World Cup.
Yeah, well, I'll have whenever the Clon lad is smoking there, because Barnes is never playing for Ireland, and he's not playing for Scotland. If he's playing for anyone, it's England, and he deserves a call up for sure as well. Give him a shot at it. Actually, Paolo Nedved, who was playing with the under-21s, I think, for Germany, I think he's dropped down the pecking order. I don't know, can he switch allegiances in some fashion, but he's linked with the Republic of Ireland now. I think he qualifies for Republic of Ireland, but I don't know if that's a possibility. Just saw that somewhere today as well. But no, Barnes definitely won't be playing for Ireland.
Yeah. No, I had a feeling you'd say that, does. Pete, I want to come to you with this comment from Sophie B. Sophie says, the Chow and Botman partnership is building again. How impressed were you with Chow and Botman tonight, Pete?
Yeah, they were superb. I mentioned it earlier. I said they're a proper Champions League centre-back pairing. I've said it for a while now. Rather than, there's been a lot of negativity towards Sven Botman. He's always injured, this, that, and the other, blah, blah, blah. Go get behind the lad. He's had an ACL injury, which is a nightmare injury. Naturally, you take a little bit longer to get back to your best. You naturally pick up little niggling injuries. You only have to look at Rodri coming back. The amount of injuries he's had way more injuries than Sven Botman. And he looks half the player now off the back of that ACL injury. He doesn't look anywhere near the same player as Rodri, the Ballon d'Or winner. He looks anything but that right now. But Sven Botman, I keep saying, Sven Botman's had one injury this season. People are talking about he's injury prone. He's had, 2 injuries in the last year? Take the ACL out, he came back. So in the last year, he's had 2 injuries. He had the one with his knee got scraped. He was out for 8 weeks. And then he had the injury in December with his back. Get behind him. The lad needs support. There seems to be a lot of negativity now with any player if they've got an injury. Oh, they're always injured, this, that, and the other. But, you've got to get behind these boys. He's just signed himself to play for Newcastle United until he's in his 30s. He clearly sees a future at Newcastle United. You only have to watch his Champions League press conference. He said he believes in the project. Sven Botman believes in the project. People need to listen to that. Because there's been a lot of Newcastle United fans out there. They've been very critical of Newcastle United and their project. Well, Sven Botman believes in it, which is why he's penned himself to a new deal till 2030. So we need to get behind these boys, because these boys want to play for Newcastle United. They want to put the black and white on. They believe there's a lot more left in the tank for this football club. And so do I. So I back Sven Botman. I think he's a quality centre-back. As Eddie Howe said, he's one of the best in the Premier League when he's up and at it. He will be back there, but we need to give him games. He needs to be playing regular, and he'll show his colours because he's a top player, top professional.
Yeah, totally. Right, boys, we've got 2 more comments. One that I've been laughing at for the last 20 minutes. I keep reading it and laughing. So 2 more comments and then 2 more questions. Daz probably knows where this is going. So I keep reading it and it just keeps making me laugh. It's not this one, but this one did make me laugh. DXLE says, I'll tell you one thing though, I never want to see Gordon try to dance again. Do you know what, Daz? We should try and get that on the intro. I did quite enjoy that. He's trying his best, and it's funny because after he finishes, you can see him talking to Johan Visser, and I think he's like saying, "I really don't want to do that again." That was really awkward. It was like watching your dad dance, wasn't it? But it was great. It was great to see him and Johan Visser, embracing each other and. They sorted each other out tonight, didn't they? Goal and assist for each. So yeah, it was great to see. It was nice to see a big smile back on Anthony Gordon's face. But I want to see it this weekend, Anthony. You need to do it again this weekend. If you can follow it up this weekend and bring that to the Premier League, that'd be fantastic. But the other comment, which is the one I've been laughing at for the last half an hour, and I don't know where he's coming from, but Michael Tracy says, "What a performance, lads." Can I just ask why none of your emojis behind you look anything like you? Michael, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yes, you do, Chris, because you're always, I don't know, for a year you've been saying to me, can we not change the pictures? I don't have the time to change the pictures. I must find some time. But the reason behind the pictures, it was, and I feel like I'm in work here trying to explain this, but this is a time before the early stages of AI, and these are our alter egos in the pictures. But yes, we must change them up at some stage. It mightn't be till the summer though. Let's see.
Good laugh. But no, thank you for your comment, Michael Tracy. And yeah, it was a great performance. I agree. Right. I'm saving Jono's question for last because it's a belter. But Daz, I'm going to come to you for this one. So Tanguy says, let's hope Bruno's ankle swelling goes down and there's no ligament damage. Absolutely, that's what we're all open. Here's the question: should we use this as an opportunity to rest Bruno anyway? I don't want him rushed back to break down. Now, I think you'll agree, boys. I felt this way, and I'm sure you both did too, and many people at home. When Bruno wants to come off, it's bad. Yeah. Like Bruno would desperately want to play on, wouldn't he? Do you think that? I know Pete mentioned earlier, that he could well be back for Villa. Let's hope he is back for Villa. But is there a temptation from Eddie Howe to do exactly what Tanguy's saying here and go, do you know what? You're sitting this one out. Let's have Louis Miley playing in that 6. What do you think, Daz?
Yeah, well, if he's not right, and if he's not not even if he's not 90% right, then yeah, rest him and give him the extra chance to get back because we need him for the rest of the season. But yeah, and we have Louis Miley who can fit in there, and he doesn't have to. We have Trips as well, so he doesn't. We don't need him as a right back. So we have that opportunity to rest him. But let's see. It'd be hard to try and convince him to sit out a game as well. I'd say, but he needs to come back right. There's no point.
Yes. Are you feeling the same, Pete?
Yeah, we need to look after the lad. We've got a massive run of games coming up going into March. As much as I'd want him back for the Villa game, because I think it's a game we can win on Sunday. I genuinely do. With our strongest team available, with Bruno available, I think Eddie Howe will give him every chance possible, because I think Eddie Howe will want him playing in that match. It's a statement game potentially for Newcastle United if we go and win that and give Villa their second defeat in a row in the Premier League. that's a big statement for us, and it could also be a big moment for them because they've got a lot of players out right now. So it is a big game, but I don't want to take a risk if it means that he's going to be out another 4 or 5 weeks if we then risk him on Sunday. So we need to protect him. The only problem is that we're not as successful with him when he's not in the team. But for me, Louis Miley on the right, Tonali in the 6, Joe Linton playing the way he is. Do I think that's in the midfield that's good enough to win against Aston Villa? Absolutely. If you've got Barnes, Gordon, Wisa or Voltamado, whoever you play as a front three, you've got enough there to really trouble them. It's going to be a case we'll probably know in the next couple of days whether Bruno's going to play, because once that swelling's gone down, I think you'll have a better idea of the full extent of his injury. But I'm hoping, because it happens sometimes, you kind of open up the joint, but it's not a ligament damage or tear, it's just an open. You've just kind of opened up the ankle a little bit, and it can hurt for a little bit, but then it just eases off quite quickly. If there's any ligament damage, then you can't take any risk with that. So we're just hoping it's just opened up a little bit and it's made it uncomfortable for him. That's what I'm assuming it is, by the fact that he was able to play on for a little bit, because normally when you get ligament damage, you're done. You know in yourself you're off. So the fact I actually was a bit annoyed with Bruno, because with an ankle injury, the rule number 1 with an ankle injury, you never take your boot off, because it allows the swelling to build and grow. You've got to keep your boot on. Whenever you get an ankle injury or a foot injury, you keep your boot on. You don't take it off, because it allows then the swelling the blood to get into the area, and it just swells up. So when he took his boot off, I was like, right, you might as well just take him off then, because it's just going to swell up. But the fact that he put his boot on, was able to get range of movement in it, was then kind of stomping it into the ground. Normally you'd feel your ligaments in that moment and you'd know. And then he was able to run around for a little bit. That fills me with hope. Obviously, the adrenaline wears off, becomes too painful. Probably needs mind. He's thinking, I don't want to risk it. Get me off. And that's, I'm hoping, is the reason why he's made that decision. So I don't think it's as bad as weeks out, but yeah, I think it's going to be touch and go for Sunday for sure.
Yeah. Right, and the final question, and this comes from Jono, and Daz, I want to start with you on this one. It's a very simple question, but when I seen it, I was like, oh my God, I hadn't even thought about this. Jono asks, does Eddie Howe drop Hall or Botman for Byrne when he's fit?
Neither, because Dan Burn has to work his way back into the team and build up fitness as well. He can come on and get minutes. I never want to see Dan Burn a left back, only if we were desperately stuck that we or it's a case that he needs minutes, and we're seeing out the end of games to give Lewis Hall a break. We don't have the same situation as we did when we talked about this Dan Burn Botman situation before, because Botman has signed his contract now. That was a worry, but I want Botman starting. Dan Burn is going to be a key figure as well, though, and again his leadership comes into play. So he's a role to play, and there's plenty of matches, so there can be a bit of rotation. But I would stick the way it is for now.
Pete, what about yourself? A few people in the chat are saying things like, we'll see. Byrne will be on the bench on Sunday. Love Big Dan Byrne, but he should become our new Lascelles. Byrne is on the bench. He isn't the future, but Hall isn't a machine. He will need rotating. Byrne is a squad player and only at centre-back. What are your thoughts, Pete?
Dan Byrne will absolutely be on the bench on Sunday for me. As well, I think Will Asula, if there's enough space. I think they'll both be available for that game, which will be a big boost to the squad. There's no doubt about it. We've missed the presence of Dan Byrne, his leadership, his physicality. We have missed it within the squad. But for me, I've always said it. People didn't like it when I've said it. Sven Botman and Malik Chow are the future, and we need to encourage that future. Dan Byrne, for as good as he's been, he's 34 years old, and at some point you need to start to think about and move on. And I always look at moments in seasons where things happen, and I felt the concussion to Fabian Schär that brought Malik Chow into the team, I thought was a really important moment, because what that did, it was like almost like the changing of the guard. Malik Chow came in, and now he's the first choice. He's the guy to start week in, week out. Sven Botman, I think this is his opportunity now. He's the starter. Dan Burn, for me, even when fully fit, should not be coming back in as a regular. He shouldn't be coming back in as a regular. He really shouldn't be. But anyway, I just think that this is the perfect opportunity to phase out Dan Burn as a regular starter. People are saying Dan Burn, don't want to see him left back, etc., etc. We need to buy another left back then. Otherwise, we will see him playing there at some point. People aren't going to like it, but Lewis Hall is not going to be able to play 3 games a week, week in, week out, with the fixtures that we've got up until the end of March or even towards the end of the season. He is going to need to be rested at some point. So unless we get a left back cover, whether it's Target or whether it's a new signing, unless we get that left back cover, he will be there at some point. So let's wait and see.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. Absolutely. No. But that is it for the questions, boys.
Cool. I enjoyed some of the comments there and the pictures as well, Chris, that you're flashing up on the screen. That is it. Thanks for sticking with us. I hope you enjoyed the reaction show. Smash that like button as well on the way out. If you're on X, come and find us on YouTube as well, and get notified about the next coming shows. Actually, about the next coming show is Friday. The big match preview is back with. Tell us, Pete.
Yeah, so big match preview with Rich from Villa Park Pod. He's coming back to join us. I'm really looking forward to talking to Rich. He wasn't able to make Top Table Talk because of work yesterday, but he'll be back to talk everything for the big game. And it is absolutely a big game. Probably one of the biggest games in the Premier League this season. They're always crackers at St. James's Park, so look forward to that one.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Cool. That's it. See you on the next one. Good night, everyone. Have a good one.